Alright, we're getting started. Make sure you got headphones out. Turn around, face the front. Turn around, Moses, turn around.
My bad.
Oh! Don't you get distracted by it. They die.
Oh my god, this kid.
Wait, what?
Don't we got a test next
Alright, so real quick, we're going to go over our warm-up because that's going to help you get started on today's stuff. Oh, also real quick, I accidentally typed in this first part of your thing wrong. This is 8-6, not 6-8. So flip that around real quick for when you do your next notebook check. You'll know which one this is.
Wait, what?
This, on the very top here, it says 6-8. I flipped that around, it should be 8-6. Chapter 8, section 6. Yeah. So when you do your notebook check, you'll know that this is section 6. Okay. So for our warm-up, we had to factor this doing end-middle factoring is what I called it. What times what is the number on the end adds up to the number in the middle. What times what is -4, it adds up to 3. Moses, would you turn around a little bit?
Yeah.
You're not distracted by Jason and other people.
You're distracting
So,
me.
if I go 4 times -1, I get -4. 4 plus -1 is 3. So I got everything I needed. But my answer isn't just these two numbers. I'm going to put it in parentheses here. I'm going to go x, and because that's a positive 4, I'm going to go plus 4.
What?
And I'm going to go x minus 1 because that's a -1.
Yeah. What? Oh wait, no, what the hell am I saying? I'm sorry.
So this is my final answer right here.
Thank you, Jason.
Alright. So what we're going to be doing today is essentially the same thing, but it's going to be more complicated. So hey, I need it quiet. We're going over this. Moses, what did I just tell you?
Please turn around.
All the way. Turn all the way around.
No.
I like difficult.
I'm
Hey,
trying
you
to
too.
see what,
Hey, you too.
much what.
Turn all the way around. Stay face front.
Are we gonna do this?
Kind of.
Alright.
Okay. So what we're doing today, we're going to get a final answer that is going to be pretty similar to our warm-up answer, but our stuff today is going to be a little more complicated. Today's stuff isn't really super difficult as much as it is time-consuming. So it's going to take some time, so you've been warned. Okay. We're going to find the factored form of 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. Now when you guys did end-middle factoring, what did every single problem have in common on end-middle factoring?
They were the ends.
They all had numbers.
Factoring.
Yeah, they all had numbers.
They all had variable. No, they didn't. Never mind.
They all had what?
They all
They're all
number.
full. They're all whole numbers.
That's true. That's true.
It's very true.
And I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with this first thing right
Go
here.
back to being a quiet person.
It had something to do with this first thing. It was always an x squared on in the middle factoring. This one is not just an x squared. This is 5x squared. I cannot in the middle factor this. Because if I was going to do that, what times what is 2 and adds up to 11? What times what is 2?
9 and
2 and 1. That's it. 2 plus 1 is 3. That doesn't work. So we're going to learn what's called AC factoring. Now, in this problem, I have an A, I have a B, I have a C. A is by the x squared, B is by the x, C is by itself.
They look like a D. Easy.
B looks like a D.
Alright, so we're going to do AC factoring. We got an A, B, and a C. So A is our, A, B, and C are just numbers. A is 5, B is 11, and C is this 2. So to start with, we're going to do A times C, which is going to be a 5 times 2, which is 10. After I do that, now I'm going to kind of in-the-middle factor. I want to know what times what is 10 and adds up to B. So what times what is 10 and adds up to my number in the middle, which is 11, which is my B.
1 times 10.
So this is A times C right here, and then this is B. Right there. And it's pretty easy. What times what is 10?
1 times 10.
1 times 10. 1 plus 10, 11? Okay.
Yes, sir. So that's B.
So, what we're going to do now that we've gotten these two things is we are going to rewrite B with these new numbers. So, 1 plus 10 is 11, right? B is 11. So we haven't really changed the problem. We're just going to rewrite it. You'll see why in a minute. And when I rewrite this, I'm going to have to add on x's in here. Because B, when I replace my B in here, I don't just have the number 11, I have 11x. So I have 5x squared. My first thing stays the same. Then I'm going to go plus 1x, and then plus 10x, and then I still have that plus 2 on the end.
What's the W for?
So you really just like broke it down?
So we basically just figured out how to split up B.
That's supposed
What
to be
W?
10.
Can you do it like a simpler way?
Oh, I see now.
I don't see no
Yeah,
W.
you have to do this whole process.
All
Alright.
It's
So there, this is a 4-step process. We just finished step 2. Step 3 is the annoying one. Okay, so give me a second. Let me copy this so we can actually look at it.
It looks like a W though.
Which one?
Huh?
What looks like a W?
No.
Yeah, what moves?
You're fine. The first 10.
It does not.
Right here?
Yeah.
I guess I can see that. Yeah.
I don't know. I just from my angle.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if I can
Oh my
paste
God,
that in real quick.
Why don't you get glasses?
I don't want glasses.
Why don't you just get contacts then?
Alright, give me a second. I'm trying to copy and paste this.
Wait, we're only on step 2.
I copy and paste this real quick, but it didn't work, so I'm just gonna rewrite it.
What
So it was
God.
5x squared. You guys can just look at yours. I'm just rewriting it real quick. And then what was it? Plus 1x?
Yeah,
Yeah.
plus 10x and plus 2.
Plus 10x plus 2. Okay.
All
Alright. So step 3 is the annoying one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put parentheses around my first 2. I'm going to put parentheses around the second 2.
You did it around the
And I'm going to look at each individual parenthesis. And I'm going to factor out my greatest common factor from each parenthesis. Kinsey, turn around. No, we're doing the opposite of forms.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm going to look at 5x squared plus 1x. James, help me out. What shows up in everything in this parenthesis?
5x squared plus 1x.
What's my greatest common factor in these? We could make our list. Do you guys remember doing this list thing?
Foil?
No.
Oh, never mind.
So,
We could make our list like we did before, but we've done this a bunch, so I'm hoping it gets to be a little quicker. What number goes in 5 and 1?
Oh no, I'm not sure.
1, right? Can I take out an x from each one?
He's rubbing against my chair.
So I'm going to factor out a 1x from my first parenthesis. Let's look at my second parenthesis. What can I take out of a 10 and a 2?
the 2.
Not a
That's my
5.
bag.
5 goes into 2.
Take 2.
We can take out a 2 from each one of these, right? Can I take out an x from both of these?
No.
No. Okay. So I'm going to factor out 1x for my first one. I'm going to factor out a 2 for my second one. And I'm going to rewrite it here with it factored out. So I factored out a 1x.
Remember that.
And I have a 5x plus 1 left over. 5 divided by 1 is 5. X squared over x means I have just 1x left. 1 divided by 1 is 1. And x over x cancels out. On this next one, I took out a 2, and I've got a 10 over 2 is 5. I've just got the x there. There's no other x's. Plus 2 over 2 is 1, right? Okay. You see how I have the same thing in parentheses now? 5x plus 1, 5x plus 1? That's how we know we did it right. So we're not quite done. We've done almost all of our work, but we got one last step. So, just like our warm-up, we are going to get 2 parentheses for our final answer.
This is crazy.
My first parenthesis is going to be everything on the outside. This 1x and this 2. I'm just going to shove both of those together inside my first parenthesis. So 1x, and because it's positive, I'm going plus 2. My second parenthesis is, the 5x plus 1 is both the same, right? So I'm just going to pick one. I usually do the one on the end, because they're exactly the same. I'm going to put that in my second part here. So the 5x plus 1. This is my final answer now. This is what I get when I factor that, it was like 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. So this is the opposite of foiling, but this is a more complicated opposite. So we just factored it. And it's a little more complicated.
Yes.
It's not super difficult as much as it is time consuming. Because you guys have in middle factored, you guys have factored out the GCF, we're just putting a bunch of stuff together. And technically what you're doing in step 4 is factoring out another GCF, but it's kind of complicated, so we're just going to phrase it this way. Okay. The good thing about this, though, is these all follow the exact same 4 steps. So you really want to make sure you have this notes paper for your homework, because you can follow every single step on all of these problems. We're going to try a couple more. Okay, we're going to find the factored form of, and let me just write this, get this a little bigger. 6x squared plus 13x plus 5.
5.
Lily, what's our step 1? Look on your notes there and tell me what step 1 is if you don't know.
Use AC factor.
So step 1 is we're going to AC factor. We're going to do A times C, and we're going to find that. So A times C, A is 6, C is 5. You know, 6 times 5 is 30. And now it's kind of like in-middle factoring. I want to know what times what is 30, and same thing has to add up to B, which is 13. So Luis, get us started. What times what is 30?
You're gonna start it.
What times what is 30?
18 times 3.
No, 10 times 3.
Oh, man.
27.
30 times 1. 27.
No, man.
27.
Come on. What times what is 30?
10 times 3, bro.
What? 7 times 3?
I said 10.
Oh, there we go.
18.
Gotta quit mumbling.
27.
10 times 3 is 30, right? 10 plus 3 is 13. Alright, now we know how to split it up. So, Beto, what's step 2? Say. Yep, so we're going to rewrite B. And I'm going to have to put in x's on these two numbers. And I'm going to put that in for my B here. And when you guys do this, the order you do it in doesn't matter. I could start with 3x or I could start with 10x. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same final answer. Either way. The only difference, so if you started with 3x instead of 10x, you know how you get two parentheses at the end? Your second parenthesis would be in front and your front parenthesis would be in back. It's the same thing, you just would get your answer flipped around, which doesn't matter. So, the order you do these in doesn't matter. You get the same answer. Alright. So for step 2 here, I'm going to rewrite my B 6x squared plus 10x plus 3x plus 5. Okay? Magi, what's step 3?
No. Step 3?
Yep, what's it say?
You gotta split into 2 parentheses.
Yep. And do what after we split it into
Factor out the
parentheses?
greatest common factor from each brace.
Yep. So I'm going to split parentheses around the first 2, parentheses around the second 2, and we're going to take out whatever we can from each one of these. So let's look at our first one, 6x squared plus 10x. Greg, what number can I take out of 6 and 10? Yep, we can take out a 2. And can I take anything else out of an x squared and an x?
Yes, X.
Yes.
Yep, we can take out an x from both of these. Alright, Ivory, what can I take out of a 3x and a 5?
Nothing.
There's one thing that goes in both of these.
1.
So when we do this, we have to factor it out. So we are going to factor out a 1, because that's the only thing that goes in. Okay, and we're going to toss these in front here. So I took out a 2x, and then I got to go through and start dividing. So I have 6x squared divided by 2x. Adelia, what's 6 over 2?
3.
And what's x squared over x? What's this x squared over x up here?
Oh, 3, right?
We did 6 over 2 and got 3, right?
Wait, what?
Just the x piece now.
What did I do? X squared?
Not quite. If you have 2 on top, like x squared is x and x, right? You have 1 on the bottom. You cancel out, how many you got left?
1.
Just 1. So it's going to be 3x. Then we're going to keep going. Plus 10 over 2 is 5. And Ruben, what happens with x over x? What was this? How many times
What?
did you turn around?
What do I have to do?
I can't sit like that. I
You
keep
can't.
getting
You
my.
can
I
sit
keep
in a
getting
chair
my.
like a regular person.
I keep getting my back on this one.
Sit in a chair like a regular person. You'll be
I'm
fine.
freaking sitting right here. Wow.
Okay. What'd you say, Ruben?
I don't know what to do. What?
What's x over x? What happens with x over x?
Cancels.
They cancel out and they're gone. So I just get 3x plus 5. Alright, on my second one, I'm taking out a 1. And that's really easy. I'm just dividing by 1. 3x divided by 1 is 3x. Plus 5 divided by 1 is 5.
And you're done. What the heck?
Almost. We are almost done. We've done almost all of the work.
What?
We did 90% of the work, but we have to do our final answer review. So, Alizea, what's our step 4? What's that say?
You read it.
Sure.
Your first answer is what is outside the parentheses,
Mhm.
and your second answer is what is inside the parentheses.
Yep. So we're going to have 2 parentheses here. My first answer are these things on the outside. 2x and 1.
Oh, okay, I get it.
I'm gonna go 2x and then plus 1 because that's positive. My second answer, since I have 3x plus 5, 3x plus 5, it's the same thing. 3x plus 5. And this is my final answer. We have gone through and solved it. It's as long as you follow your steps. It's time consuming, but it's not super difficult. Kinsey, turn around. Kinsey. Turn around. Alright. Do you guys want to try another one together, or you want to try one on your own?
Our own.
Our own, let us fly.
On our own. Let us fly.
James, what about the birds? I
Alright,
can't.
so let's skip ahead to this one right here.
Let's not do that one.
Alright, you guys want to skip ahead?
No.
So, follow your steps. You got 4 steps. Follow them all.
Oh my goodness, I can't remember.
That's why you got your notes. That's why you got notes.
Right.
So you got 4 steps.
Wait,
Days.
It's 10 times 14.
Ah, I did it.
You're probably going to need to get Desmos on this and to guess and check a little bit.
You don't know what 10 times 14 is? No, you do it for 10, put a 0 behind the number.
How
I
does
did
that-
3, 4.
Thank you.
Oh.
Only 140.
Sorry.
Wait, hold on. Mr. Golfman, you silly.
What?
Oh, yeah, I get it. What? No?
What are you doing?
I'm trying to like. Dang it, doesn't. Oh, Mr. Funky.
Keep working on it.
Why did you
Figure
make
out
it
what times
31 and
what
not
is
24?
Are we gonna need decimals? Decimals in
Yeah,
this?
you're going to need Desmos.
Desmos.
Are we gonna need decimals?
No, no decimals.
No.
I tried to say negative.
Oh yeah, same. I was on Desmos.
And don't forget, when you do C, C is not just 14, it is negative 14.
What?
Goki, help.
So hang on. So, step 1 is A times C, right?
Yeah.
Which is going to be 10 times negative 14, which is negative 140. What times what equals negative 140 and adds up to the number in the middle, which is 31.
That's not nice.
It's not that bad.
That's really bad.
I'll give it up.
Okay, it's just difficult.
It's not that bad.
I give up Goki.
Okay.
Don't do it. I already got it already. I gave you a hint.
Goki, I'll give up.
No, don't give us a hint, Goki. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
Goki, don't.
Don't give us a hint.
Fine, you're on your own.
Do it.
Don't.
Gosh.
Goki, I need your
Give me a hint.
No, yeah, just like one of the numbers.
One of them is going to
Okay.
be negative 4.
100.
Oh, Goki. One of them's gonna be negative 4. Anything. Goki, you're cool.
Alright, let's have you guys go through this, and let's have you
I
do
give
just
up,
step
I don't
1 and step
understand.
2 first.
No.
Just do step 1, step 2, we'll talk about it, make sure you're on the same page. So I'll give you a hint, one of these numbers is negative 4.
No, dude.
Actually, what? No, negative 4 is not
It's
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
10.
35.
I'm in.
35 minus 4 is
You're supposed to keep going.
So do step 1, step 2, and then let's talk about step 3 real quick before you guys do it.
We were
Because
going.
there's one thing we haven't seen yet.
I can't even. I should go.
Oh shoot.
Oh, Goki, I got it. This is easy. This is not.
Then you
Alright, Goki, I'm done with step 1. How dare you?
Okay, do step 1, step 2, then we're going to talk about it. And if you still didn't get it, I put it on the board for you.
You did?
Oh,
Thank you.
wait, how did I get
Louise,
Wait,
quit
is it,
talking
is
to me
there
like that,
X?
okay?
When you do step 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
0 times 0 minus 0 divided by
So do step 1, step 2, and then we're going to look at it. We're going to talk about this.
Okay.
Is it minus
Because you're
4?
not going to find So do step 1, step 2, and we're going to talk about step 3 before you guys do it.
Alright, I can't
I
remember.
got that one
That's
out.
step 1, right? So what's step 2?
Step two.
It's stuck in my head now.
Hang on. They're doing step 1, step 2. We're going to do step 3 together real quick.
Okay, why can't we just do it by ourselves?
Because you haven't seen this piece yet?
Oh, wait, have I, Mr. Goki?
Never seen this kind of
Shut
animal.
up. You sure?
Remember, you gotta split this up to be plus 35x minus 4x.
Oh, okay, wait, so wait.
Because that's step 2. Split up b. Instead of being 30, 1x. You're gonna do 35x plus
Wait,
minus
so
4x.
just kidding, so we know what to do.
Back to this.
Just kidding, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Minus 4x.
You got a blast.
Jesus.
Alright.
Could you not?
Okay, I did it. I did it. All 4 steps.
Showing off. Alright, so. Alright, so on step 1, we got our 2 numbers. Step 2, we're going to rewrite it as 10x squared plus 35x
You wrote the other number on the
minus 4x minus 14. Alright, so before we do step 3, let's look at it real quick. Step 3 is where we make our parentheses, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to put them around the first 2 and around the second 2.
Landon,
Okay.
you do the whole divide thing.
Alright, so this is what you guys haven't seen yet. On my second parenthesis, I have negative 4x minus 14, right?
Yeah.
What number is going to go in negative 4 and 14?
Huh?
2, right?
Yeah.
2 goes into 4 and 14. Okay. When we do this, we always want to make the first number right here in the second parenthesis positive.
We're just gonna make it positive.
Yep.
We're just gonna do
So
it.
we want a positive.
So we're just going
So, I have a negative 4x. I want this to be a positive, which means I'm not going to divide it by just 2.
Negative
I'm going to divide it by negative 2. And that is what I'm going to factor out.
Oh, you just gonna like.
So, if you forget and you leave it as just a regular 2, you'll be very close to the right answer, but one of your parentheses will have a negative in it, and it shouldn't. So, I'm going to have you guys do the rest on your own now.
Alrighty.
I just wanted to show you this piece. And it's only on the, yeah, you always want the first thing in your parentheses to be positive. And it will basically only ever be the second one right here. We always want this one right there to be positive.
absurd.
It's not that bad.
This is confusing, Mr. Gold.
A little, that's why we're practicing. I gave you lots of directions.
No, you didn't. You gave us too much information.
4 steps. What? Moving on.
Alright, so I get.
Why are you complaining?
Because I didn't get this.
Okay.
I didn't do this.
So
I can do this. Like,
Okay.
I know how to do this. I
what's
just
the
don't know how
biggest
to do
number?
this.
What's the biggest thing
Big
between
got
10 and 35?
5.
Okay. And we have a x squared and an x, right?
Show
So
me
you're
where
going to
I
take
go.
out 5x for both of these.
What's that?
After 11.
Open season 3. 2.
Okay. So we have back to this 5x out. So we're going to put
Oh my god, I don't get this. It's not even funny.
because we factored it out. So we didn't just get rid of it. We factored it out and we put it in front. That's why it's in front.
Negative 2 right here.
We still put okay, so we have negative 2. And then inside here, it's like we're dividing by. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. X squared over
Alright, go get
I'm
this.
setting, I'm talking
35
about
divided by 5 is 7.
Get
There,
better.
it's cancel each other.
Vegetable beans.
What about this one?
Okay, same thing.
Advanced.
What's negative 4 divided by negative 2?
2.
And okay, we just put the x there, right? Okay, what's negative 14 divided by negative 2?
I don't even know how I got that.
Okay, I'm like
Five?
confused.
Yeah.
Okay, let's, once you
Step
get to
3.
step 3, once you get to step 3, ask me and I'll walk you through it. I think you were actually gone when we did this.
Stop.
You didn't even sit down.
How
I
was
was
duo?
gone for a whole week, so
Yeah.
honestly,
So you
yes.
were fine. I was sick that
Bro, it'd be nice.
Alright,
to
keep
play
going,
some
finish
Sims.
off this problem.
kidding,
I see some people are doing pretty good. Just need to
I
finish
heard
them off.
Fortnite is hard to play.
It is. Goki, can you show me where I did it wrong?
Bro, I got Jefferson puzzle.
That was my final answer. I don't know how to freaking do this.
X right here.
Jefferson's where all the hoopers go.
You're taking the X right from
So
like
those are the same.
5x.
Ken,
So you forgot to put your x.
Whatever you
Ken, you know how
Sure.
unfortunate I was the last time you did that? Yeah, I didn't know.
Like Katie went there.
Here's the thing, like, I literally
Kids, if I'm being honest,
I
you
feel
fucked
like
up my day to do that.
So we factored it out, right?
That like started
We
it
factored
all.
out. It's just like
Don't do that anymore.
Man, you better look at all the way.
x squared over
Oh yeah, he dropped 40.
Sure, you did zero.
over x.
Yeah.
Big 5 is 7.
Yeah, Grant from here.
That's our call
We're
for
taking out -2 here because we always want this one right here to be
Grant from
positive.
Portland. School of Portland.
Take out -2,
I can live up
-4,
here.
-3. That's -14 over -2.
That's all I want to do.
Grant.
I actually got pretty good grades.
Step 4. So the final answer is going to be 2 parentheses. So you just need to fill in both
I know you're over here.
That's right there. No.
I know.
We stuff.
Your first
I
parenthesis,
thought it was
and it says on step 4,
like that, but I didn't see no
Pieces on
thing
the
to
outside.
light it.
5x minus 2.
Couple of never been
The second
Got
parenthesis
something
is
going
still
on,
going
so I
both the
just
same.
like, I don't do
Just pick one.
Oh wait, did I put 5x minus
No,
2?
no, 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 I do not.
Even if she was.
All right, so let's keep going over this real quick. Finish it off.
Mark's telling Ivory.
So we are. Let's pick somebody random here.
Yeah, Mark's speaking.
That's how your mom
All right, on this next one, Ivory. What are we factoring out from this first parenthesis?
I expected to, so we didn't even know about it.
Like divide by 5.
And not just 5.
Okay.
5x. Okay.
I was saying S.
All right. That's good enough. All right. After that, Adelia, what do I get when I take out this 5x on our first parenthesis? We're gonna have 5x out in front, right? What do I have left on the inside?
You get 2x plus 7.
Okay.
And then on the other one, you get -2.
Uh huh.
And then you get 2x plus 7.
Yep.
And then your
Okay.
answer
No,
is...
somebody else is gonna answer.
Do
it all.
Keep going
Slow down. Slow down.
5x
Lily,
plus
what'd you get for your? No,
5x.
let Lily answer.
My thunder.
Lily, what'd you get for your final answer?
5x subtract 2.
Yep.
And 2x plus 7.
Yep.
One time she's getting it
Oh
all
yeah.
One time.
Too far. Too far, Adelia. Calm down. All right, that's it.
That
All right,
is
that
just too
is
much
it.
work.
It is a lot of work.
Saying really
I won't sugarcoat it. It's a lot of work. But I try to give you steps, break it down, so it's not quite so confusing. All right, do your exit ticket. If you haven't yet, I will turn on Creative in a second and put your homework on Google Classroom. And I'll tell you how many homework problems you got to do before music first.
Go Humanities, the restaurant.
After Adelia.
Music?
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
you got to do some homework problems before you can listen to music. 8-6. I don't remember.
Watch how Xana pull something. Oh, we're not gonna say it.
What?
Watch how Xana upset.
What, Lily, what?
That was the thing